Thank you so much, you three, for joining me today to talk about Players Guild of Dearborn's production of She Loves Me. How are you three doing?
Great.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
We are so excited to talk about this production, and you just actually had your opening weekend of this musical. Nathan, how was kind of the experience to finally present it to the audiences?
Well, it's so funny because throughout the rehearsal process, you hear the show so often that it's funny and the show's funny, but at certain points you stop laughing during rehearsals. So to hear the audience laugh again, it's like, oh yeah, this is a really funny musical. There are all these wonderful jokes in it. So that was delightful to actually hear the response finally for after so much time not hearing that response.
It has to actually feel very fulfilling at that point, like being like, oh yes, this is how it's supposed to be responded to.
Right, and we were lucky enough to have three audiences right off the bat that were all wonderful and laughed at every joke that we gave them.
It was wonderful to hear how they responded to things too. That it wasn't just the oh well we know this has got a good punch to it. It was
Right.
hearing them gasp at something or oh it's something and just they got swept up in the story, which is really great for a story that's been touched upon so frequently that for it to still have that power is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that as actors, Brian, I know you're both in the show. It has to feel great to be able to finally take all your hard work of learning these characters, learning this story, and giving it to the audience.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes you always feel like, everybody who's seen it so many times, they like it, but what is an audience going to react to it? And just getting all of that energy coming back is just wonderful.
You use the word fulfilling, and I think that's really the word because again it's a story that people might be familiar with from the many iterations from other movies and other vehicles, but yet audiences are still really taken by it, and to present it this way with this beautiful musical confection that this show is, and really share the story in this realm and this vehicle, gives them a little bit of everything from the humor of it, the romance of it, the music of it. It's sort of like a perfect little package,
Absolutely.
for such a sweet story.
I will have to say that I have never seen She Loves Me, which it sounds horrible running a website like I do. Um, so I'm not familiar with the story, and so I'm hoping, Nathan, that you can kind of tell us a little bit about the story in case there's somebody like me out in this world that has not seen it yet.
So yes, it's actually based on a play that was written in the 1930s called The Parfumery, and that play was about two shop clerks who hate each other in real life, but are secret pen pals and end up falling in love with each other despite them absolutely hating each other in real life. Um, and then that was in turn turned into a movie called The Shop Around the Corner, and then that became another movie called
Okay.
In Good Old Summertime, and then this musical happens in the 1960s, and then You've Got Mail later in the 90s. So it's been a story throughout many decades, and the fact that it's still just as resonant today as it was back in the 1930s is a testament to the great writing of this actual story.
And it is kind of like that universal love story that you see in rom-coms since I've been growing up. I'm 30 years old, and I grew up on rom-coms as well. And so it really is kind of that quintessential love story of enemies to lovers.
Very true.
So in this show, Brian, I'm gonna start with you. Who are you playing, and what's kind of their narrative or motivation through the show?
My character is Ladislav Sipos, and I'm one of the clerks in the store. I sort of want everything to stay even keel. I don't want to make any waves. I prefer for things to sort of connect the way that they need to connect. I'm wouldn't necessarily say high strung, but a little bit high strung. And Yet I'm in on it. I help. I'm part of the discovery of what goes on between the people who are writing letters to each other and realizing who they are to each other. And as I share with Noah's character, that I'm pretty sure that they like each other. They just don't know it yet. And so all along the way, I'm a little bit of the wingman along the way in some respect. And but truly, I just want it all to just happen and be nice and even so everybody's happy because I don't want to get stressed out by it all. I just need it all to be okay and just right.
It's kind of funny because it's really Ladislav's world. They're just all living in it.
That or George might be the typical lead character, but you're
it's
very
it's
much
really Sipos' story.
It's like his world through a soap opera lens. It's just sentimental.
I was gonna say, it kind of sounds like your character's like the fairy godmother of the story, you know, trying to make it all happen and seeing it all and putting the pieces together.
Yes, because even despite my desire for everything to be nice and even, I get involved. I do things to end up being involved that either make things work or cause problems, and then I'm not sure how to handle it after that. I pop a stomach pill and try to stay calm, keep my perspective, which is all about perspective.
The stomach pills are your fairy dust.
That's right. That's right.
So what is your personal process then for developing your character from page to stage?
That's a great question. For me, I think it's reading through the script and I find things about the character that connect to me personally or some untapped part of me. And with Sipos, it's a little bit of letting out some of that neuroses that we might all have about where we work. And wanting it to be, I just need today at work to be normal. Can today just be normal, no drama? And sort of finding that every time that Sipos walks into the shop, it's just please don't let Mr. Marichek be upset. Can everybody just get along? Can we have good business? And trying to keep your head above water through it all. And that resonated with me. And those moments then when you have a friend or a family member or a coworker who taxes you just a little bit and you're like, that's enough. I'm good. I'm good now. You've got to handle this now on your own. I've reached my peak. So that he's great. There's something I love about him in terms of his need for things to stay balanced, and yet as we're talking in rehearsal with Noah, is that a little bit of gossip is a great thing. So it's at the same time, I want to know what's going on. I have to know what's happening.
We are definitely the gossip of the perfumery, 100%. I think 80% of that is on me.
Why?
My character does not know when to shut up. He will just go off, and he doesn't know what he's talking about either. He's just this naive little kid. But he just goes off on his tangents, man. And Sipos gets the brunt of it for the most part, because he actually listens.
So Noah, who are you playing in this show, and what is their narrative?
Yeah, so I play the character Arpad Laszlo. Early on, I started describing him as basically like the SpongeBob of this show. His motivation is one and only to just impress Mr. Marichek. He wants to be a clerk. He wants to feel like he's more part of the story than he knows he already is. He thinks he's an outsider, but he's inside. But he wants to be that clerk, so he wants to show Mr. Marichek what he can do. And he's just got all this energy. He's just like a little ball.
I don't think the shop would run properly without Arpad there.
I agree.
Yeah, your character definitely keeps everything running,
True.
bringing things in, bringing things out. Yeah, I definitely think Arpad is the heart of Marichek.
And then how do you develop that character then, Noah? Like, how do you make it your own as you're bringing it to the stage?
Yeah, so similar to what Brian said, like after reading about the character, it really reminded me of just who I was when I was that age. Um, I am playing a character that is about a decade younger than I currently am. So I look back at what I was at that age and how energetic I was myself, and I just really brought a lot of my own life into Arpad.
Fantastic. Nathan, so you are the director. You're the kind of the ringleader. You're keeping everybody in check. You're making sure this all goes off without a hitch. What drew you to wanting to direct She Loves Me?
So, actually, one of those movies that I mentioned previous in Good Old Summertime is one of the first experiences I had with this story. It was with Van Johnson and Judy Garland. It's a musical from like MGM's golden age. And that was my first introduction to this story. And I fell in love with it then. I also collect like Broadway cast albums. And She Loves Me was just one that I happened to collect. Didn't know anything about it. But as I was listening to the soundtrack play, I was like, oh wait, this is that story. And so from that moment, it's always just been one on the back end that I've always been like, if it ever comes up, if a theater ever does it, I need to either A, audition for it, or B, direct it. And luckily I got the directing part. So it was great.
So as you were developing the show, what do you feel like was important to highlight, or like what stood out to you about like the characters in the story that you really wanted to make sure were brought to the stage like correctly, or with your vision?
So specifically for this show, because it is a classic musical, I feel like a lot of people think of a classic musical as being long, boring. You might have a couple laughs here and there. It's based on a character. Um, but my goal, starting when I first found out I was directing this show, was to keep the energy going, to keep that movement going throughout the entire show. So even though there's action happening with the main characters over here, there's still stuff happening behind the scenes that builds the entire picture. And that was kind of important to me, was to really develop and create this whole world that they all live in, and not just focus on what the actual characters are saying, but to build everything else around.
I think that's so smart too, because I think with a lot of classic musicals, like you said, they do feel almost. This is might be blasphemous, but a lot of times they can become off kind of flat. You know, like they're just. I'm thinking of The Music Man when I went and saw it on Broadway, and it was kind of a flat show. And then I saw it at Birmingham, I was like, oh, this show could be very lively when you fill it with people and you fill it with life. You know, so it sounds like you really wanted to make sure that this show had that life put into it, so that people didn't have those negative connotations that do come with a lot of classic musicals.
Right. We were actually talking right before this interview about the fact that it feels like this show feels like it was written just a few years ago.
Yeah.
It does not seem like it was written back in the 1960s or even in the 30s when the play was originally written. And that just is, again, a testament to how well crafted this show really is that it still feels relevant. It still feels modern, even, you know, 70 years after its opening.
Absolutely. What is then your process as a director from bringing the show from your mind to the stage? Because I know there's a lot of moving pieces. You have actors, you have costumes, you have sets. Like there's a lot of things that you have to accomplish. How do you do that?
Well, it's so funny because when I tell people how I direct shows, it always starts from the outside in. I always start with the set, and then I go down from there. Because if I don't know how the set is going to work or how the costumes are going to work, then I can't tell my actors during the rehearsal process, hey, do this, or I need this to happen, or I need this to happen. I need to make sure that those elements are in place so that I can confidently be like, yeah, this is going to be here. I need you to take this from here to here, move here from there on this part, and confidently know that these pieces are also going to be there.
It's definitely a lot of moving pieces. I don't know sometimes how directors can do it with keeping their sanity in place.
I don't know. I hope I first of all, I'm lucky enough to work with a fantastic cast who I was like, hey, bring a pencil to these rehearsals because you will need it. And they can attest to that because I did throw a lot of blocking at them, but they handled it like champs, and I'm very appreciative of you guys for doing that.
So with this being a musical, obviously I want to know both like what your favorite songs to hear and what your favorite songs to perform are. And Brian, I'm really gonna start with you about with this one. What songs really stand out to you from She Loves Me? Both ones that maybe you're not in, but also ones that you love performing.
Well, that's a great question too, because I mean, this may sound, kind of trite, but the whole show, I love the whole score is just incredible to me. But I will say that when I first stumbled upon it, listening to a cast recording, the very opening of the show is a number called "Good Morning, Good Day," where the principal roles come out as they're walking into work and they're saying "Good morning, good day" to each other, and it was just it's such a catchy tune, and it's such a fascinating way to introduce all of the people that you're going to see throughout the story. And they get introduced right off the bat, um, and then at the same time, the relatability of it is who doesn't wander into work on a beautiful day and go, could I just call in sick right now and not have to go into work and go do something different? And it's just so clever and so smart and such a great little tune that I just absolutely love it. And I, not to take the personal route, but I love this. My song "Perspective" is so much fun. It's such a great challenge to sing, and yet it's such a funny number to have to pull off. And Nathan did really great stuff with how he wanted it staged and how to interact with things on stage, and um, it's just so much fun to do. And I think I would say that that's true about pretty much every number in the show, is that it's just, wow, when you do it, this is just so much fun. This is so great. And that each song has a moment of it being hilarious or sweet or charming. And to hear that come out of the audience too. And even in the rehearsal process where cast members are sitting out in the house applauding and cheering for each other as they're performing, was just a great experience all the way around.
It really sounds like the music has such a great energy for the show.
Yeah, it's so perfectly connected.
It really is.
They didn't, no pun intended, they didn't miss a beat connecting all of the moments, and even in the underscoring, the way that they carried certain tunes throughout to help make sure that action still felt connected musically to everything that was happening. It's so well done. It's so well put together. It's just a great show.
Noah, how about for you? What are your favorite numbers or your standout numbers from this show?
So, I mean, if you had asked me at the beginning, I would have told you right away my song. Try Me is such just a fun number. All about really getting that final nail in the coffin on making sure Mr. Marachek knows that he's ready for this promotion. It's a wonderful song. But I love a shtick, so my favorite of the entire show is the Thank You Madams. Because it's always reoccurring anytime somebody leaves the shop, they sing a little song. And it's the cutest little song, and the fact that it just keeps coming up over and over again, it just puts a smile on your face every time you do it. And then I get to join them in the tail end of the second act. And my character is just like so giddy to do it. I do like a little dance the first time I do it because I'm just so excited to finally be in. Um, but then I have to reiterate, Brian's song is great. It's become my favorite song of the entire show. Something about just how catchy it is. It just, you can't help but just kind of move your body to it. It's a fun song.
Sounds like you have quite a few that stand out to you. That's awesome. I mean, that makes it for a more enjoyable show if you guys are enjoying the music that you're singing. So, Nathan, how do you feel like She Loves Me has challenged you in your respective role or helped you grown in your craft?
Well, actually, a lot, to be honest, because it was a lot of directing in the show. The show is essentially a lot of blocking. So, as a director, having to shift through all these different themes and different acts, as usually you have a choreographer, and we have a wonderful choreographer, Kristen, but there's only a few actual dances in the show. The rest of it is blocking. And so it was like, I have to do this number, or I have to do this scene, I have to do this, I have to do this. So, and then having that challenge to create the whole picture, um, it was a challenge, but I think, and again, it's rewarding to watch it play out on stage. Again, to see all those little moving pieces, really, it makes me happy. And the audience probably won't notice it. It probably means nothing to them. They're just like, wow, look how cute all this looks. But like to me, sitting there, I'm like, oh, that fits nicely. Oh, that worked nicely. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. And so it's been nice to kind of see that grow from page to stage.
You think those little things don't matter, but that's what, at the end of the day, probably is what a lot of these audience members are taking home.
That's true.
And realizing that, man, that was just a phenomenal performance. Because sometimes you just need those little small details to be nailed to take a great performance into an excellent performance.
Thank you. I guessed the right guy.
It's always those little moments that make it for an audience, when sometimes all the work that you do that you never see up front, or all of the character work that an actor does to have like a little, a reason why their character does something. And, that's one of the things I always love talking with people, creatives, actors and stuff like that. It's because they all have little things that they do that do make the show feel more full and alive. So absolutely. People notice it. Brian, you had mentioned that your song "Perspective" was a challenge. Do you feel like that was the most challenging part of this role for you, or do you feel like there's other ways that it challenged you to grow?
I think perspective is a definite challenge to sing, part musically because of it sort of changes tempo as the anxiety kind of kicks in, and it's full of amazing words as I sort of explain what my perspective is about life. And that's also a hallmark of almost every song in the show, is that they really loved putting these words together, and they're funny and they're fast and they're amazing. Even late in the process, I was listening to other people sing other songs, and I would have to pull my script out and flip really quick and say, "Is that really the lyric? That's hilarious! That is so great!" So yeah, each time I do it, it's keeping on top of it and finding the right way to keep things moving, and it's kind of like solving an incredible math problem. Like once you reach the end and you figured out the solution at the end, it's so fulfilling that you've done it. That every time we do it, it's just that last breath as you get that last note out and you relax, and the audience is hopefully applauding. That it's just a great feeling. It's a great feeling to know that you've put that out there and you've had your opportunity to shine in it. It's great fun and very rewarding as a performer to get to do it.
Noah, how about for you? How has this role challenged you as an actor?
Yeah, musically 100%. Like Ryan was saying, this show, it's like every song is a patter song. It just finding the right time to breathe, keeping on the right tempo, everything just, especially with my song, can get off so quickly. And just managing that and getting that right. But then when you do, it just really sells it.
It feels good.
It does.
It's music that it feels really good to sing it. I don't know how or why it does that, but it
does. It does.
It's amazing to sing.
And that's why I would say that like the energy, that was one thing I think that came the easiest, was because the words and the feel of the entire show keeps that energy up at all times. So you never really have a moment to get a lull. And it was great.
Perfect. So one final question then for all of you. And Nathan, I'll start with you. Is just, what are you hoping audiences take away from this experience of She Loves Me?
Well, just from the audiences that we've had, I love that everyone is going home with the biggest smile on their faces. They came in for a show not knowing what to expect, and then just enjoying 3 hours of their life and just having that happiness for those 3 hours. I think that's my most rewarding moment as a director for the show, is to hear the laughter, to see the smiles. I had an audience member tell me that they were smiling through the entire show, and that is a testament to what we have put onto the stage.
I would just hope that they
That's
take away
beautiful.
time. The Guild puts on such amazing shows. Every show that I've been a part of, every show that I've gotten to see, has just been some of the best times I've had in theater. And I hope that the audience members come, they love our show, but they also know that the Guild will continue to put this out, and they continue to come back and see everything that we have to offer.
I would have to say that this opening weekend, I always get caught coming down from the stage as people are exiting the theater, and I end up holding the door for them and hearing them say the phrase that keeps being used is, "What a wonderful way to spend an evening! What a wonderful way to spend an afternoon!" And they are leaving with those smiles on their faces, and that's a great blessing as an actor to know. Yeah, you've made a difference in their lives for just this moment in time, and they're gonna walk out of there feeling great. And one couple, they want to learn the song "Thank You, Madam" so that they can sing it to each other whenever they leave the house. So we've offered to teach it to them. We'll see if they come back. But
We're holding classes.
that's right.
Well, that's amazing. And truthfully, you guys are right. This is the Guild puts on some incredible shows. I mean, this is what, the 98th season. Like, there's so many incredible seasons, and there's some great shows coming up. But this is just another a way to show just how much talent is at this theater. So I hope people come out and they enjoy it. And I want to just thank you all for being here and talking with me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Brian.
you.
So She Loves Me runs at the Players Guild of Dearborn through November 23rd. So get your tickets now, and we'll see you at the show.